listeners, and welcome back to the Review for Review podcast. Oh my God. So, get this right. I recorded today's episode ahead of time to help with my schedule of being back in school so I could focus on my schoolwork and I still have time to go to the gym and just be me and enjoy my dog. And it's about what we're going to talk about today. And so I watched something and I was like, we're going to talk about this. Not instead, like we're just going to add it onto the things that are going to be discussed on today. But I just find it so hilarious. I try to be productive. Oopsie. I tried to be productive and it's like just not it. But anywho, happy Juneteenth! Despite everything that has happened and is currently happening in the world, it is important to look back on our history. And when I mean our history, I mean us as Americans. And when I say us as Americans, I mean as Black Americans. As a Black woman, born and raised in America, I kind of don't, let a moment go by where I don't let people know, like, hey, I was born and raised in Florida. No accent here. You gotta let it be known. I believe Juneteenth to be just as important as 4th of July. 4th of July is about celebrating Americans' independence from England. Juneteenth is about celebrating Black Americans' independence of not being owned and being objects. I don't know why that was even a thing. Like, you look back in the history books and like slavery has always been a thing. And I believe to some extent slavery still exists today. They just call it a different word. But we're not gonna get into that, okay? Like I said, Juneteenth celebrates Black independence in America. It's not about the day slavery was abolished. Please, kindly go read a book or just type it in Google. Like, come on, y'all. Let's be educated. Be educated. People be like, that's the day slaves were free. You're wrong. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Anywho's. With everything going on with the protests that took place this past weekend, I myself have no comment on any of it. However, I will speak on the military parade that took place in DC to commemorate, I can't say that word, to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday. That was something, and people were saying how they were like protesting in silence because of like that's why they were marching bad, because they were protesting in silence. And I was just like, oh, do you know what people are allowed to do in the military? Trust me, they weren't protesting. They just suck. And then there was somebody on TikTok who posted a video of a Navy graduation and was comparing a Navy graduation where, you spend your time practicing all these things to an Army celebration in the streets of DC. Honey, two different things. Two different things. And, it was all about Trump's birthday and so forth, so forth. But I don't really care. I believe in a world where no matter what your nationality is, ethnicity, or who you culturally represent, I believe you should be able to be you and be free to do that. But, that's nor here nor there. We're going to talk about straw, and I was a little bit iffy on whether or not I wanted to cover straw because I was a little bit iffy on whether or not I wanted to cover straw because it's been out for like a good 2 weeks by the time this episode comes out. So I was like, is it worth it? But it's like, it is. It is, girl. You have to speak on it. You can't not speak on it. And honestly, straw itself, the emotional wreck that I was on during the whole thing, people were saying on social media after I watched the movie, people were saying like there were hints that, the girl wasn't really real and all that stuff. Arya wasn't really real and all these things. And I was just like, what? Excuse me? It was just really sad. She definitely went through the 5 stages of grief, which are like denial, depression, anger, bargaining, and like acceptance. Some people say reasoning, but reasoning is bargaining. Look up a thesaurus, okay? Just so many things like that. Taraji is a phenomenal actor. Okay, she's a phenomenal actor. Whether that's in a movie or TV show, she's just everything from Empire to Hidden Figures, which I know, shockingly, I have never seen Hidden Figures, and I probably won't see Hidden Figures anytime soon. Um, it's just crazy like that. There's a scene in Straw where she's like, and nobody helps me. I do it all by myself. And somebody compared it to a scene in Hidden Figures where she's like, and I live off a pot of coffee that nobody wants to touch. It starts with like, and I work like a dog day in and out. And it just made me laugh, not laughing at the struggle. We're not laughing at people's struggle here. It just made me laugh because it's just like the what do I want to say? What she's given in Hidden Figures versus what she given in Straw are two completely different performances. But how you could like compare and contrast the two, it was just like, oh my god, I would not have thought of that. But I did think of that because when I saw that scene, I only watched Straw once. When I had saw that scene, I literally thought of that specific scene in Hidden Figures. Even though I've never watched the movie, I've seen it. I've heard people repeat it. I am definitely somebody who speaks TikTok. I'm talking about in it. Like, I love speaking TikTok. Sometimes I think it's a curse. Sometimes I think it's a blessing. Sometimes it reminds me of the fact that I'm just human and I'm just trying to get by. I especially love when things come up from my childhood and it's just like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I remember that. Anywho, Straw was a really good movie. Round of applause for the three main ladies, Taraji, Tiana, Taylor, and Sherry Shepherd. They were phenomenal. I haven't seen Sherry Shepherd act in something in a long time. I know she has like her little talk show going on. She's in her little talk show era. The talk show that, replaced Wendy Williams. Um, not shady at all. That's what they said. So yeah. Tiana Taylor. They were talking about Tiana's wig, y'all. Tiana girl. They said your wig looked like you was frying chicken with it. It did look a little, but like, did you really expect her to come down with a full bust down like Tiana Taylor would come as? Or did you expect her to be Officer So and So? I can't remember the name. Like, that's what she was supposed to do. You know what I mean? Um, the whole movie in general, like, I didn't understand at first when it came out why it was called Straw. Then obviously reading a little caption on Netflix, I was like, oh, I understand now. Like, it's her final straw. And it's like, girl, you better than me because I lost my final straw a long time ago. It just goes to show you never know what somebody's going through. You never know how strong somebody is, how you are until you're put into this predicament where it's like, I can't. I can't. Like, I literally can't anymore. And I think that really just like amazed me in a way, especially for women, because women really are strong. Like, nobody understands. People are like, I love my woman, I love my old lady. Women give us our kids. They do this and this and that. And it's like, but no, do you know how strong a woman is mentally, emotionally, physically? Like, women are strong. Like, I get it. Males have that dominance. At the end of the day, a male could totally take down a female, but females are strong. I aspire to be a strong female, to hold my ground, know that I got to keep going. I can do this. I can keep going. With God by my side, I can do anything, but I know that I will, I can, I should, I will seek, just all these positive affirmations to keep going forward. And what I really like about this movie, as sad as I was watching it, seeing her predict her own death, losing her daughter and going through everything and the toll it takes on her mental health. I am not a mother. I do not have kids. I could not imagine the pain somebody must feel as a mom to lose their kids, because your kids should not go before you. Like, you saw them be born, you should not see them die. Like, I truly believe that. when I die, I want to be cremated. And I remember one time I told my mom that, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Ma, like, as sad as it sounds, like, you should not be alive whenever I'm cremated. Like, this will not be your burden. I will make everything in my power for this not to be your burden. I do not want to see my parents have to bury me, or obviously not see, but I don't want my parents to have to bury me. I don't want to have to do that. It's just a tale as old as time. It's how life is supposed to go. But of course, nothing always goes according to what it's supposed to go. The child is supposed to bury the parent. The parent's not supposed to bury the child. And I truly believe that. I believed it even more when my uncle had passed away, and I just saw the sadness in my grandmother. My grandmother truly became a different person when my uncle passed away, and I didn't really understand how much that affected her, as much as I do now. And it's so, so, so sad. It's just a sad thing in general to lose anybody, no matter what the circumstance is. Straw was that movie, that fundamental, that I don't know. It's like, damn, like some people, they could go the distance. Can you go the distance? Is you finna beat somebody down while they're going the distance? Things like that. There are a lot of things in the movie that like would have set me off. The little white cop following her and then ramming her car and saying, I'm gonna find a legal effing way to kill you. Like, them words feel like they were seared into my chest, because the way he said that I don't know who that man is. I don't know nothing about his name. I can't even recall his appearance. All I know is that he was white, but phenomenal acting. Cause Buki, you had me scared too. Phenomenal acting. I was scared for myself, and I wasn't even in the situation. This isn't even reality. And I was just like, I could not fathom like being in that. Like, it was just, no, it wasn't it for me. She was going through so much, the trauma. How it was crazy how trauma works. Trauma can affect you in different ways, because losing your child is a trauma. Grief is a trauma. Okay, people. I think grief is just a little sugarcoat of like what it is, but there are levels to grief, and grief is definitely a form of trauma, especially if it impacts you physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, you don't even know. I'm not a certified therapist, not anything. I don't have a doctorate in anything. I don't plan on getting a doctorate in anything or a PhD in anything. But your girl has been to therapy. And I went to therapy originally to deal with grief. And you don't know what grief could unleash. This girl, I saw people on TikTok saying like she was probably like already on the verge of it, losing it, and then, actually losing her daughter probably set her off. And it's like, that's very true. That could possibly be true. But it's like, you never know. You never know. But because that wound was open, now the trauma was unleashed. That girl did not want to rob the bank. She did not, you know, want to kill that man. She didn't need to shoot that man. She was not, in cahoots with the man to rob her boss and all that stuff. And also, by the way, the actor who played her boss, he is also a good actor. Oh my God. He's one of them actors where it's either you love him or you hate him. And honey, I hate him most of the time because he be acting too damn good. Oh my, he need to go sit down. He be acting too good. He be acting too good. Oh my God. Sometimes it just be utterly pissing me off. I backed up from the microphone, guys. This is what monitoring the vocals look like. Everything like that. He was just too good. But she didn't really want to do all that. All she wanted was her paycheck. All she wanted was to take care of her baby. She wanted to do her job so that she could provide stability for her and her baby. Now, people was talking mess about Janae, saying, how was that little $521 gonna do something? Buki, all I want to know is, where does she live? Well, not really, because I wouldn't want to live there. But it's like, where we live in that, she out of the $521. Let me pull up the calculator, y'all. Let me pull up the calculator, right? At the $521, she needed the $40 for her daughter's lunch. That's $481 left over, right? I don't know how much the ticket was gonna be, but the way tickets be now these days, let's say the ticket's like $100, right? That's just me being, I don't know. Tickets be expensive. Sometimes they be a little, you know what I mean? It's rare to find a ticket under $100. That's $381 left over. What rent is she paying with $381? And it's like, in your rent, is everything included in your rent? Because that raises your rent, okay? You know what I mean? Like, in my rent, like my water, sewage, stuff like that is included in my gas. However, I gotta pay the electric company. You know what I mean? I gotta pay my own internet and stuff like that. So it's like, what you got going on? Obviously, she ain't had no internet, but it's like, what you got going on? Like, girl, car insurance? You driving around without car insurance? Because my car insurance, I ain't gonna tell you how much my car insurance is, but my car insurance be up there. Like, honey, I can't live off this. Who could live off this? But it's not about really understanding who could live off what. How could someone live off what? Because let's keep it $1.50. There's people living off less than this right here in America. Probably right down the block. You don't even know. You don't even know. This is fiction. You know what I mean? You don't even know the half of it, okay? So, I don't know. So much happened in Straw. It definitely had my emotions when they were about to storm the bank, and I didn't know it was all in her mind. I was really like, please don't kill her. 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 I was just praying they wouldn't kill her, y'all, because I did not want to see that. And when she got shot, it's like I got shot. I was just like, I was so sad. I was just so sad. I was so sad. And then to find out it wasn't true, and the fact that the bank manager knew the entire time that her daughter had died. And even when Janae had asked her, would you take care of my daughter, and when they locked me up, and she said yes. She said yes. If that's not a friend, you don't have a friend in me. Because what? I was so sad. I was like, what? The people who were willing to rewatch this to see the little like, oh snap, you don't see her. Oh, that's where she found out that her baby was dead. That's da-da-da-da. You know, all these things. Kudos to you. I don't plan on watching Straw again. Have you ever heard of the movie Four Colored Women? If you heard the movie Four Colored Women, Straw isn't even on the level of Four Colored Woman. But it's damn near. It's up there. I don't plan on watching that movie again. I don't want to have my heart ripped out and just mashed to the ground because of, I don't want to deal with that. And it's just so sad. It's so sad. And just like Four Colored Women, Straw could be somebody's reality. Somebody could actually be living that. When these people go crazy and they be like, I'm gonna effing kill somebody, and they start, scooter pat, you don't know what it took to get them there. You genuinely don't know. And I really believe you can't, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't blame people for why they did what they did. And I feel like that's what I liked in the movie. They thought this girl was robbing the bank. They didn't really understand this girl's story. Like, they heard it, but I don't think they really understand. The crowd didn't really understand it. But they were like, free Janae, like, she ain't doing anything. And realistically, like I said, the girl was not trying to rob the bank. She just wanted her $521. Don't forget it. She giving her all that extra money, like, all that stuff being extra, causing a commotion. I thought when you getting robbed, the best thing to do is just comply. Don't do anything more. Don't do anything less. And Tessa, yes, I remember her name because she was pissing me off. Tessa was doing way too much. Janae ain't want all that. Tessa doing the most. It was unnecessary. It was not needed at all. Truthfully, the movie was really good. I like the fact that you could see characters who could do comedy and then who could also do some serious stuff. You know what I mean? They could switch it up like a pancake. Just flip them over, and it's like, oh, you look nice. I'm gonna slather some syrup on you. Maybe some dulce de leche or some whipped cream. How about some fresh fruits? I'm going to a picnic tomorrow and I'm just dragging stuff out a little bit. Anywho's, that was really something. If you haven't watched Straw yet, it's on Netflix. It's been up there for a little minute. I think it's like number 2, number 1 still in the Netflix little top 10 they got going on. Truthfully, for this week's episode, I was only going to talk about Straw, shine some light on Juneteenth, and then I got off work super early and I watched. Oh, I didn't watch. I was on TikTok and I heard about AstroWorld, and it's like, why people talk about AstroWorld all of a sudden again? And I learned that there was a documentary, and I was like, "Where's this documentary? Is it on Max or something?" Because Max be having all the documentaries, and it was on Netflix. So what did your girl do? I got off my phone and I went to go find this documentary on Netflix. So yeah, let's divulge into it. Okay. Truthfully, the events that took place in 2021 are a blur for me. That was a really hard year for me. It began a really sad journey that I did not like. I did not know how bad it would become, it would be, and or what I was starting. Just to clarify, I am no longer on that journey. But a lot happened in 2021. So going back to Astroworld, I had heard of the tragedy at Astroworld. Um, I did not know the details and just everything that happened with this event. I knew people had died. I knew there was a really big backlash against Travis Scott. I didn't know how big of the backlash it was, like how huge it was, because I knew like something happened, but like people still liked it. Travis Scott, like I still listen to his music to this day, things like that. But I didn't really know. I didn't know a lot about the past of Travis Scott's shows and concerts. And so I didn't really know that much about Astroworld, whether that was because of my mental state of being or the fact that I just literally tuned it out. I genuinely did not know everything that conspired in November of 2021 and the aftermath afterwards until I really watched this documentary, and that's because of Tickety Talk. I didn't realize, how many people had died. I didn't even know he did the interview with Charlemagne. He did like an interview in December, a month after the tragic event. Um, so much I learned because of this Netflix documentary, and it's like, did I really not know, or like, was I genuinely so deep in my crisis that I did not know what was going on in the world in 2021? Because the things that I heard, saw in the documentary was just meh. I hated it. I hate sadness. I think it's one thing that I'm pretty constant with in my life. I hate crying because my face gets puffy and I just don't like crying, but something about watching Straw. And then to come and watch Astroworld, this week, it just made me be like, oh my God, Astroworld happened over 3 years ago. It'll be 4 come this November. This whole documentary, this whole tragedy sucks because justice did not happen at all. Nobody was charged. Not a single soul was charged. And these families bear the weight of losing their loved one due to simple laziness and incompetence. If you haven't watched the documentary, you should. Because it's just, like, what do you mean? And like a lot, like, controversial guys, and I understand a lot of people are like, Travis Scott's to blame, like it's his name, it's da 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 da, and it's like, I understand that, and I do feel like Travis Scott, he did get backlash. He got a lot of backlash. Still to this day, backlash. I do believe that the promoters should be the main ones held accountable, and in this case, the name, or should I say, the company that was spoken upon so much during the documentary, Live Nation, should be the main one. I didn't know they were the biggest media whatever tour people in the world. And they do a lot with Ticketmaster and all these things. So it's like, I think they should be held accountable. Their stock dropped. They lost like a couple million. But when you're a millionaire, when you're just on this high horse of being a CEO, $1 million, that's nothing, honey. It's just really, really sad. There was a point in the documentary on one of the victims, headstones, Rudy Benea. It had a quote. I'm not gonna repeat that quote. I think it's such a beautiful quote. You should watch the documentary and see what the quote is yourself. Um, it's just such a beautiful quote. Um, it rings true because reading that quote, it was like, oh my God, if I could see my loved ones again. Like, if there was a genie in front of me, I wish. Like, I literally know what my 3 wishes would be, and that would be to see my loved ones again. It would bring, I think it would bring some type of peace and love and clarity and just hope back into, life itself. Not saying I'm sad, but just in general. And it was just so sad. And here you had his mother talking about his death, and it's like a mother's grief knows no bounds. And she said in the documentary, like, people ask her, why does she visit the grave every day, and she's like, this is me living through my pain. And it's just so sad. 10 people died, 8 people died that night, the youngest being a 9-year-old boy. And I think a lot of people are like, what's a 9-year-old boy doing at a festival? And it's like, it AstroWorld, the way it was portrayed was literally like you were going to Disney World. His album was named AstroWorld after Six Flags AstroWorld because he's from Houston, Texas. You know what I mean? It was literally, visualized as a theme park. And like I said, I did not know the extent of the rowdiness his concerts could get. And a lot of people are like, this is why I don't go to festivals. This is why I don't do that. But it's like, honestly, I don't hear a lot of this backlashes when it comes to festival and stuff like that. Like, I've never heard this about Beyonce. Just throwing that out there. Adele. And then they say people, you see these artists that stop their shows. Like Travis should have stopped his show. And not allegedly, because there's proof of it, he stopped his show 3 times, but not to the extent of like, hey, we're done. And originally he was supposed to go on at 8:45, and it was supposed to end at 10:30, and he ended his show around like 10:13, 10:15. And it was just really, really crowded. And it was like one side of the stage area where the fans were that was really congested, and just all the scary things that had happened. Right away in the documentary, like people breaking down the fences and all this stuff. And in my head, I'm thinking like, your girl might have not known what was going on in 2021. But I know one thing, COVID had just happened. COVID was still going on. There were definitely still COVID protocols, just not as strict as they were when quarantine was actually going on. So, and you saw people with masks, and it's like, I bet it didn't help having a mask on your face and pushing and riling up people and, being a degenerate to society, because that's what some of these people were. I understand what the tragedy was, and I'm not speaking bad on these victims at all. But when you watch the video, I'm saying but like I'm about to like point fingers at the victims, but this is not about the victims. This is about the other people. When you watch the video and you see these people breaking down the barriers, breaking down the fences, they said that they sold tickets to 50,000 people. And when you look at it, I'm like, ain't no flipping way that's 50,000 people. Remember, this is a festival. This is not a full-fledged concert. This is just a festival. This is Rolling Loud, Lollapalooza, Dreamville. This is a festival. Festivals, in my mind, are usually half the size, not a quarter, half the size, depending on location and who is headlining, who's performing, half the size of what a concert would be, a world tour would be. Because a world tour, that takes place in a stadium, housed to, fit more individual. And even then, they don't fill up the entire stadium. They were not at max capacity at AstroWorld. They were over capacity. A lot of people blame Travis Scott, and I understand that sometimes it's easy to point fingers at the person whose name is right there, whose face is right there. But I believe the promoters play a bigger role in that. There's all these contracts that you don't know nothing about, just like you don't read the fine print in your little Apple stuff, Samsung stuff, or whatever devices you get. You don't know the fine print in these people's contracts. And people were saying that, legally, Travis Scott could not stop the show. He legally could not stop the show. I agree. Because in all these shows, it's like, you see people stop the show and da-da-da-da-da. He did stop the show, technically. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? What people wanted was a full-fledged stop, shut down production. And he couldn't do that. Okay? Yes, it's his show, but these people are also paying him. You know what I mean? There's levels to this we need to understand. And I'm not going to divulge too much into it because at the end of the day, no matter what I'm saying, it's still a tragedy. It still should never happen because it was so avoidable. It was just so sad. And the takeaway for this week, for Juneteenth, y'all, is live love. Because I know so much happened. I was well and alive and of, state mind or whatever the word is, state of mind to know, the details about AstroWorld that had happened in 2021 during 2021. But like here in 2025, it's like a new book to me. Like, oh my God, I've never heard or seen this. And it's just like, oh, okay, I didn't know about it to this degree. The documentary is very haunting. However, I feel like the documentary, controversial, you want to, pay homage to the victims. Like, this should never happen again. There are stricter things when it comes to festivals and concerts in place because of incidents like that. When bad things happen, it's like we live and we learn. History shall not repeat itself until it inevitably repeats itself. But I believe that, this documentary was a farce because there was no justice at the end of it. Like, at the end of the documentary, it's like nobody was charged. Nobody was charged. Live Nation was in charge. Travis Scott was in charge. None of the other performers and all them whoop-de-whoops were charged. Live Nation did make a statement to the Netflix documentary people, and they said that everything was confirmed with Houston PD. They were just throwing Houston under the bus. My God. And things like that. What really struck me overall from the documentary was like, we don't really get festivals in Houston. I'm from Florida, right? I've never been to Rolling Loud as much as I really want to go to Rolling Loud. But when I see festivals like Rolling Loud or Coachella, it's like, how did you guys, like, I don't know. Y'all started this in 2018. Y'all did one in 2019. 2020, COVID happened. 2021, you come back. And in 2019, nobody died, but 3 people were injured, okay? But nobody died. And it's like, poor planning. That's all it is. People don't understand how important planning it is and how important other people's lives are when it, more than the value of money. Because that's all it is. All these lawsuits were closed out off the record with an undisputed amount. And it's like, that's nice. That's okay. I don't really care how much money the families got because you could never put a number on somebody's life. You can never take away that pain, that heavy burden almost you carry with you day in and day out. You can never replace that. Out of the 10 people that died, 7 of the families refused to have Travis Scott pay for their funerals, which I could understand. Like, I don't want your money anywhere near my loved one. However, COVID did happen. So for those three families that did, say, yeah, you could pay for it, but we're still pissed off. Hardships exist for you guys, and that's the connection for this week's episode with Straw and AstroWorld. And it's just how sucky the world can be and how life can be, and how you never really know what one's going through or what one felt in the moment, and how you will never know what one felt in the moment because the story changes with the minute. With the second, it's so horrible. It's so horrible, guys. Before I close out this week's episode, can I just show you guys some love? Ginny and Georgia, guys. Last week episode, it's doing numbers. The last time I checked it was, I want to say, like Monday, and it had 30 views. You make my heart beat, guys. It's not the most viewed video, but anytime I can get my views in the double digits, I'll take it. There's a video out there that has like 100 and something views. I still don't believe that I have a video that has 100 and something views because I still only have like 20 subscribers. I used to have 21. I deleted one of my old YouTube accounts, so I lost a subscriber from myself. I'm my own enemy. It's just a lot. I love to see it. Going on TikTok and seeing people talk about Ginny and Georgia and the fact that, I have this podcast. And I just recently did an episode on Ginny and Georgia. And it was just like a cry for help because I wanted to be in the comments like, go listen to this podcast and we could talk about it. We could talk about it together, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, I really hope like that when the day comes that this podcast really hits off, that I can really have conversations with like other people, like not my friends and family, like other people. Like, I don't know you, but tell me what you think. Like, I just want to hear stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that. I don't know currently how many views the episode has. Maybe it's still at 30. Maybe it's gone up. I don't know. But I appreciate it, guys. I'm trying to get better at promoting the podcast. I don't promote it to the full extent that I want to promote it due to some underlining circumstances. But I promise you, I'm not going anywhere. I hope you guys don't go anywhere. I so greatly appreciate it. The more people that listen, it makes me feel like, okay, my voice isn't that annoying. But if you put in the comments that, hey, your voice is annoying, maybe I'll get like a voice, like when people rob, like kidnap people, like a ransom, like a rodeo box, and I'll talk like this, and we'll go on with the show, or just something, or I don't think I could do the voice right now because my mouth's a little. Hold on, let me see. My mouth's a little. Let me drink something a little bit. Talk like this. I can't fully do it. I'm not drinking water, so I can't fully do the voice, but we can talk like this, and then maybe we will get something done. I used to be able to keep this voice longer, but I guess since I don't do it as much as I used to, so it's really hard. But we could do stuff like that if you guys don't like my voice. But you guys listening makes me hate my voice a lot less, because sometimes I feel like my voice is too pitchy. Then I feel like it has too much bass to it. It's just an emotional roller coaster here with Diavion. You know what I mean? But thank you, guys. Thank you. Continue to watch, or in this case, listen. Make sure you guys like. You guys are liking. That's why I don't believe that I have a video that has 100 or something views, because nobody liked it. Even if there was a dislike, I would believe it a little bit more. Stuff like that. But like, comment. Make sure you guys subscribe. I don't know why I can't say that word. There's a bell somewhere that notifies you on video. With any luck of me, you'll get a notification like once a month. But I'm trying, guys. I'm trying before we really get into the busy season come later this year. As always, I'm just so thankful. I don't get paid to do this. I do this because I really like it. I like movies and TV shows. I like talking about it. We're like Rotten Tomatoes, but not Rotten Tomatoes because I don't want to be sued for anything, because I have no money. Okay, guys. We're just on a different level, because I'm pretty sure Rotten Tomato is like, they got like 1,000,001 people working their damnedest over there. You just have little me trying my hardest to cover what I could cover. I don't cover everything when it comes to movies and TV show, but I try to cover most of it. That's the spiel for this week, guys. Thank you guys. Make sure you guys go watch Straw on Netflix. And the AstroWorld documentary is also on Netflix. There's a new Medea movie coming out in July. Can't wait to talk about that. This summer, I turned petty. Oh, new episode title? New episodes are coming back in July. And I cannot end this podcast episode without telling you that Prime Day is right around the corner. Honestly, I don't think I bought anything last Prime Day, but then again, I think that's a lie because I was moving around this time last year. I had just moved into my new apartment that I'm currently still in. So I don't know, but I got some things, guys. I got some things on my list. Make sure you guys go shop on Prime because why not? Remember, none of this is sponsored, okay? If it was sponsored, if I could choose one sponsor, I would want to be sponsored by Bloom so they could pay for all my Bloom supplements. But, anywho's, as always, because you know I have to drag it out till I hit like an even number sometimes. Happy listening, y'all.